Una gana de bata de anda da bata 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 bala bala. Okay. Are we live? Are we live? Are we live, guys? Are we live? What's up, guys? It's Mars Sports. It's your boy Marshall. Today we're gonna do a tier list video for the first time in a long ass time. A long ass time. It's been a while. Yeah. But yeah, today we got a tier list video. And yes, I'm still at home. I'm going to Jackson later today. So those y'all wondering. Yeah, if y'all saw a video yesterday, I'm going to him this evening because he has school today. So yeah. But expect some content coming. Maybe some content here too. We'll see. Anyways, let's freaking do it. So we're making a tier list. We're doing a tier list today. And I've noticed there's like hero teams in college football and villain teams, and mix in between. But today, we're going to determine whether, and we're doing this all 138 FBS teams, including the two new ones, North Dakota State and Sacramento State. There are also some FCS ones in here. I'm going to actually put on the FCS thing just because I don't know much about them. Yeah, because also it's expansion candidates, which I mean that's cool and all, but obviously, like I think that'd be awesome to join the FBS, but obviously I don't know as much about them. Yeah, because I've done more research on like I've had to do more research on Sacramento State and all that. So, yeah. But most of these are going to be hero teams with some exceptions of villains. So yeah, let's do this. So not to get rid of this tier or this tier. So yeah. Anyways, let's do this. So we're going to base this off like how they're viewed as in the world of college football and in general, I guess. So yeah, there's that. But we got a lot of teams to go through. So let's do this. Air Force, one of the most obvious ones. They're a hero team. I mean, they're literally a military school. They do so much for our country. So obviously, they're going to go on to the hero tier. Like they're not going to, like they might be a villain to some other countries, but I mean, in the grand scheme of college football in America, they are without a doubt a hero team because they do so much for our country. All the military schools. We'll get to Army and Navy eventually as well. Akron. I mean, they kind of suck. Usually, they did lose postseason eligibility. I think at least for last year, maybe this year too. I don't know, and I think they can get it back this year. But Akron, I mean, they're usually an underdog. So I mean, I put them as a hero team. Yeah, Alabama without a doubt is a villain team. Like that's not even a question. Like Alabama is a villain team. Like they've won so many national championships, and I despise Alabama. Yeah, there's that. I'm not even being biased here because I know Alabama's my least, as y'all know, Alabama's my least favorite team because I'm an LSU fan. That's our biggest rival. But Alabama is a villain team. Like there's no doubt about it, in my opinion. Like that's about as villain arc as you can get. I'll tell you, Nick Saban's for sure built a dynasty there. I'll tell you that for a fact. App State, if you're Michigan or South Carolina or Texas A&M, they're a villain team, but I think they're. I mean, you could go either way, but I probably put hero team probably because like it's a cool story, I guess. Although it depends on who you are, I guess. Arizona, I mean, if it's basketball, it might be different just because they're really good. And just because the school is really good doesn't mean they're a villain team. Arizona is a hero team, in my opinion. They're one that's not necessarily a football. I mean, they're more of a basketball school and football school, in my opinion. I think they're great. They've been good at they've been getting better at football lately. Like they had a good season last year, 9 wins and all that. But I will admit, they're more of a basketball school at this point. Nothing bad about that, obviously. Arizona State, they're a hero team. I mean, let's be completely real. That was one of the coolest stories in the college football playoffs, the first 12 year. Because Arizona State was projected to finish last in the conference, and they straight up won the conference. So King Dillingham's built up a lot of stuff there, man. Pretty epic. It's also a hero team to LSU because we get all our quarterbacks from there because we got Daniels from there. Of course, we got Sam Levitt for next season. So yeah, that's exciting. Arkansas, I probably was a hero team, just because they suck. And just because the team sucks doesn't mean they're not a villain team. But Arkansas, they're usually not great. They've had some good years, but they've upset some teams as well. And a lot of this depends on because this was based on LSU team on LSU. But if I was based this on my LSU fan, I'd put him in villain for sure. But Arkansas, the general award of college football, is a hero in my opinion. Arkansas State, same thing. I think Arkansas State. Butch Jones has done a decent job there. So there's of course coach Tennessee. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. What's the guy that say your national champion of life or something? Yeah. Army, without a doubt, is a hero team. Like I said, they do a lot for our country, so I'm not going to put them in villain team, obviously. Because honestly, that's one of the only situations where every other sport is pretty much doesn't really matter. But obviously their sport's really good. It matters to the actual program. But in this case, and determining whether you're a villain, no, that matters because they're legit. Obviously, they do so much for our country. So there's that. Auburn, back then they were a villain, but they haven't been great the last few years. They were really good with Gus Malzahn, not when Gus Malzahn was in his prime still, and Cam Newton was there and all that. They've had a lot of good years. Don't get me wrong, but the last few years have not been great. I would put them villain back then. Now I'll probably put them as a hero. Just because when they beat Alabama, it's the world turns upside down in a good way. Ball State is not really that great of a team usually. They'll get a good win every they'll get a big win like one or two big wins every year in MAC play. But they're overall not great. I'll put them as a hero team. Actually, actually, I'll probably put another tier. I'll make it more diverse. Yeah, I don't know. Nah, I don't think that's actually necessary to add that. Okay. Baylor, Baylor used to be really good with RG3. They've had some good years. They won the Big 12 years ago. 2021 was the last one. But Dave Ramnett, he's extremely inconsistent there. But overall, I think Baylor is generally considered a hero team, in my opinion. They're a feel-good story, I think, in my opinion, whenever they get up to the top. This is based off right now. Boise State, this one's tough. I think they're a feel-good story the most, but they're the villain in their conference because they win it every year. So I'd probably put them more in villain team at this point. I think they're a hero pretty much everywhere else, but in their conference though, they win every year, and everyone's oh, yeah, Boise State's really good every year. They're usually one of the best, if not the best, Group of 5 team every year. So they're the first ever Group of 5 team to make the 12-team playoffs. Yeah. But yeah, they've had a long history in that conference, and they're joined the Pac-12 now. But that's a lot of the same teams they're playing still. But you also have Texas State, Washington State, and Oregon State. All the states for some reason, and Gonzaga in basketball. But this isn't basketball, so the Boston College, they're overall, they're usually not great. They're trash last year. I probably was a hero team if they get to that point. Bowling Green, I'd probably put them as a hero team. They've had a few good games in the past. They almost beat Penn State the same year they made the playoffs, and they almost beat A&M too. So they can compete. Although they were kind of rebuild their transition year last year with Eddie George as new coach. This is really cool, obviously, but that he's their coach. But I mean, there was a transition year last year for them, to be fair. Buffalo, I probably put it's a hero team. Also, it's not just like overall in college, but also in their conferences too. BYU, I'd probably consider them a hero team. I think they're one that's cool to see up at the top. Cal is a hero. They're extremely inconsistent last year. Like they beat SMU, who beat the eventual national championship runner-up, Miami. But they also did get shut out 34-0 by a Group of 5 team, San Diego State. Granted, San Diego State was a great team last year, but still, it's just like it wasn't like they weren't that great. I'll put up as a hero team. Central Michigan, I mean, I probably put as a hero team. The MAC is kind of a weird conference, but the overall hero team, I think they'd be a cool story to see. A lot of the Group of 5 teams are hero teams, to be honest with you. Yeah. Charlotte. Actually, you know what? I think overall, App State can be a season destroyer. So I'm actually going to put them in villains here. I know they haven't been as good lately, but I'm going to put them in villains here. I think it's a feel-good story. Like, there's never seen feel-good story in like a villain. Because like, there are villains like some other... Like, they've had their fair share of upsets in the past. Like, but at the same time, people want to see them succeed. So just because they're a villain team doesn't mean people don't want to see them succeed. Just saying. Because you could probably put your own description. And I honestly... Yeah. Charlotte's not very good. They're one of the worst teams in college football last year, but they're a hero team, I guess, when they're good. Cincinnati, I mean, they're used to be really good in the American. Like they made the playoffs. They're the first ever Group of 5 team to make the playoffs. I'll put them as hero now just because I feel like with the Big 12, it's kind of humbled them a bit, obviously. Yeah. Clemson, listen, I know they haven't been as good last year. Like they made the playoffs 20. Like I know they weren't good as good last year. I mean, they made the playoff, but they're a villain team. They made the playoffs a lot, both formats. They made it tons of times in the 4 team, and they've all made national championship a lot too. And they've also won. They've also been the destroyer in the ACC usually, and they made the 12-team playoffs too. Yeah, they had 3 losses, but still, like that's because they won their conference because no one could stop them, even a really good SMU team that year. Yeah. But there's that. Coastal Carolina, I'd probably put them as a hero team, honestly. Like, you could argue that for baseball, too. But because they're really good. And they maybe further than anyone expected, probably. But Coastal Carolina, they had a really good run to start the FBS. And then they kind of just fell off. Yeah. There's that. Colorado. I don't know, man. That one's a tough one. People do not like Deion Sanders. I like Deion Sanders. I think he can be good. I think he's inconsistent, but I think he's a good coach overall. Even the last year kind of sucked for him. Like he was great at not Norfolk, Jackson State. Colorado. That's a tough one because it really depends on what you think of Deion Sanders, in my opinion. Like Shador Sanders and all that. Like they have really good teams. I don't know. This one's a tough one because I could go either way. I feel like I'd split some people. I'm gonna say hero. Just because like they're not really necessarily, but Deion Sanders is like, I probably put him as villain because a lot of people kind of like don't love Deion Sanders. Yeah. Yeah, but I like Colorado. I don't have anything against them. It's just with like Shador Sanders and all that when you kind of like acted the world, then yeah, maybe I could see that. I think it could go either way. It really depends what you think of Deion Sanders, but a lot of people don't really like Colorado that much. So, yeah. Colorado State, though? They sucked last year. I think they'll be much better Jim Mora, though. I thought it was a hero team. Like, they had a lot of bad seasons, but, like, they can be good. Delaware, they just joined the FBS. They have, like, 1 year to sample in the FBS, but they did decent last year. especially for their first season. They beat UConn, which was probably the best win this last year. I'll put them in hero. I think they're pretty cool. Um, Duke. If this was basketball, they for sure being villains here. Without a doubt, they being villains here because how good they are. But football, I'll put them in hero. I mean, they won the ACC last year, even though they went 7-5. But they won the ACC, which is pretty cool last year. Um, yeah. Um, there's that. Eastern Carolina, Jimmy Donaldson, aka Mr. Beast, funds that place, funds that team, funds part of their team now at their university. I put him in hero. Plus, Mr. Beast is affiliated with that team. I think it's running to college too. So yeah, for that. Plus, Eastern Carolina's been a good team. I think they could honestly be one of the best group of 5 teams next year. I know they lost like Caden Hauser, but I think they'll recover. I think they'll be good next year again. Eastern Michigan, they've been trash. Like they were trash last year for the most part. Like they got beat by freaking fracking almost by Ireland. They got beat by Long Island University. Like, good lord, bro. I put them in hero though. Like if they were to be good, I think they'd be up there. Actually, I put hero if they were good. Should I? Nah, that's not. No, I won't do that. So I keep on adding tiers. Florida Atlantic. I know Tom Herman can be kind of a hothead sometimes, but and he used to coach Texas back then. But I mean, FAU they haven't been that good last few years. But I mean, they've had their fair share. Like Lane Kiffin was their coach not that long ago. I'll put them at hero. FIU's for sure a feel good story last year. Like they went from like being not very good to they actually did pretty good last year in their first year. I think it was their first year with their new coach. So that was pretty cool to see. I would probably put FIU and hero. I mean, why would they be? Who are they villain to? An AU? That's the one they're a villain to. Maybe some of the Florida teams, but well, I guess FIU could be a villain to like Miami. So you can make that argument to be fair. That was 2007. That was a long time ago. They did beat Miami one time though. Florida, I mean, Florida is like not been very good the last few years. But I mean, they used to be really good back then. Florida, I don't really necessarily consider them a hero team. I know they haven't been great the last few years, but they're a villain team, especially when like Tim Tebow and all that. So people love Tim Tebow, but like Florida became like a powerhouse. So I mean, you can argue both, but like I put it as a villain team. Not because I'm an LSU fan. I don't like the Florida. Not just because I don't like Florida because I'm an LSU fan, but also because they've had really good. They've had moments like on top of the college football world. People didn't necessarily love that. You could argue both though. Florida State, when they beat Alabama, they're a hero team, but like people just kind of like you could argue hero just because all the stuff they went through, but like Florida State, man, a lot of people make fun of that program all the time, but they didn't win that. I don't know. It could go either way. I'll put them in villain just because like when they're good, it seems like oh no, Florida State, Fresno State. Pretty sure Lane Kiffin played there. Fresno State's usually good. I mean, Derek Carr played there. David Carr, Jake Hanger, uh, Devontae Adams. Like they've had their good players, and Lane Kiffin, of course, was actually a player there. But Fresno State, I mean, they're usually at least decent. I'd probably put them a hero. I think they're pretty good. I like their logo a lot. Georgia, without a doubt, a villain team. They've been really good last. They built a dynasty out there, and no one freaking likes Georgia except Georgia fans. Oh, shout out to Afiq, by the way. Um, um, Georgia Southern. I say that. I mean, I know they've had their moments where like I know they beat some good teams. Back, I think they beat Nebraska a few years ago. I'd probably put them at hero. They're usually pretty good. Usually good enough to be hero team. Not like Georgia State is trash. They did beat Vanderbilt a few years ago. But I'll put hero. Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, in my opinion, I think is a hero team. Like people felt good for them last year. Like they've definitely been one that Brent Key is for sure. Like actually like done really good with them, especially considering what the program was back then. I'll put them in hero tier. Hawaii is really is a feel good story. They could honestly make the playoff next year, in my opinion. Although she got one of their receivers, so there's that. But Hawaii, I think they're a feel good story usually. I'll put them in hero. Houston, like they used to be really, really good back when they're in the American. And then they joined the Big 12, kind of fell off. But last year, though, was their best season since they joined the Big 12. Like, they went 10-3 last year. They beat my LSU Tigers, so there's that. Houston was really good. One of the most underrated teams last year. I'd probably put in hero, honestly. Like, they're really good last year. They're really, at basketball, they're probably a villain, but, like, here, though, they're probably hero. But football, yeah, hero. Illinois, I think they're a hero team, in my opinion. I know Brett Bielema can be kind of a hothead sometimes, but like, I think they're overall a hero team. Indiana, this one's an interesting one, in my opinion, because I think right now you could argue they're the biggest heroes in college football. Like, they went from trash, they were a trash freaking program, to a national champion in the span of like 2 years. Like, Kirk Cousins done an incredible job with them, man. A lot of people point for them in the playoffs, including myself. Like, I think they're a hero team right now, but I think Kirk's and Neddy's building dynasty. I think they'll eventually get that villain arc one day. Honestly, they'll probably end up getting that villain arc. Like when Indiana won that shit, like, it was a feel good story, man. Made me feel great, man. Like that was awesome. But like Indiana's looks like they're coming to dynasty at this point with Kirk and Neddy. So I mean, they're going to go on a villain arc. I'm just saying, like they're really freaking good, man. Kirk and Neddy has turned around. Kirk and Neddy has cemented himself in legend status just because of that, man. Like that dude deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Like Kirk deserves a statue built everywhere in Indiana, bro. Like that dude has done so much amazing work for them, man. Like credit to Kirk and Neddy. Iowa, on the other hand, I mean, their offense kind of sucks usually. They've gotten better the last few years. Kirk Ferentz's been there for a long time. I respect that. Like he's probably one of the most longest tenured coaches at a single team in college football so far. The last few years, I put him at hero team. Iowa State. Iowa State's gonna fall off a cliff in my opinion next year. I mean rebuild. Iowa State's a hero team. They used to suck, but they've had some good years under Matt Campbell. So like they almost put the playoffs one year, and then they got smacked by Arizona State. But Iowa State, I think, is a hero team. They've been one of those teams that's like they didn't feel good through the last few years. Like they've been good. Yeah. Yeah. Jacksonville State, they beat Florida State as an FCS team, so there's that. They've been one of the best teams in the CUSA last few years. Like they were conference champions one year. Then they were the runner-ups the next year, or last year, because Kennesaw were run-ups to Kennesaw State. They're a hero team. Maybe Florida State might be a villain team, but I think they're a hero team. James Madison. This one's an interesting one because JMU's been really good since they joined the FBS. Like, to be fair, guess who their coach was when they joined the FBS? Kurt Cignetti. Honestly, you can make an argument for both. JMU, in my opinion, is a hero team because, like, they've done so good since they joined the FBS. So I'll put hero. Like, I know they've beat some good. Like, they beat some really good teams. Like, they scored 70 on North Carolina a few years ago. No, this isn't basketball. This is football. That's really impressive. Like JMU, man, they've been fighting for like they've been one of the teams that like had to fight for the posting eligibility stuff and all that with all the FCS FBS transitions. Yeah, There's that. Kansas, Kansas. Kansas, they've had. I mean, I will say the last 2 years have been great. Like they're the same record the last 2 years, but like 1 year. But you can tell like 2024 was they were much better on paper. Like they're actually because 2024, to be fair, they lost 5 of their 7 games they lost to were by 1 score, and they were all the good teams too. I think that's Apple's done the good stuff. The last years have been great, but like Kansas overall isn't that good at football. Like they've had their moments. Like 2007 was really good for them. Like they were really good in 2007. But really in the last decade, you had teams. They've been kind of the punching bag at points in the Big 12. But I think Kansas overall is a hero team because I think Kansas, like, you could argue villain though because of what they did in 2024 when they beat Iowa State, Colorado, and BYU all in like the span of 3 weeks. I think they're overall, in my opinion, I think they're a hero team. I think they're one that people actually feel good about, unless you're a K-State fan or a Missouri fan. It really, you can argue both, honestly. Kansas State, I mean, they weren't great last year. They just lost so many close games last year. But K-State, they're usually a hero team. Like people wanted them to beat Bama in the Sugar Bowl, and they weren't even. I don't think they were even close. They're a hero team. Kennesaw State for sure, a hero team. That team went from 2-10 to went from a 2-win team to 10 wins in the span of a year. Like they went from like people saying this was people saying it was a mistake to join the FBS to win their goddamn conference the very next year. Like that's a pretty cool story, man. And if the cards would have aligned correct, if the stars were aligned correctly, they could have made the playoffs last year. Just saying, like if Troy beat JMU, probably if Tulane beat Tulane and North Texas wouldn't have mattered. And then like some other like teams like Boise State beating UNLV and all that. Like if the stars would align for them, they could have genuinely been in like the playoffs. Yeah. Kent State went from 0-12 to 5-7, which I mean 5-7 is usually not a good season, but for Kent State, man, that's about all they can ask for, considering how the position Kenny Burns put him in that year. Mark Carney's done actually an incredible job. I know the record doesn't really show that's great, but they're playing a lot of Power 4 teams. But Mark Carney's actually genuinely done like a good job, like actually making that program actually like a serviceable program again. I'd say they're a hero team. They do get crushed by every Power 4 team they play, but I mean, I think Kent State, yeah. Kentucky basketball, they're a villain for sure. But I think when they're good in football, they're pretty much a hero team. I know they've kind of been a punching bag, won the punching bags in the SEC last few years, but overall they're a hero team. Honestly, on second, I don't know. Liberty, you could argue villain team, but they haven't been great the last few years. But I mean, overall, they've been great in the CSA. I'd probably put them as, this might be a little controversial. I'll put them in villain team. I know they haven't been great the last few years, but like Liberty is usually a force to be reckoned with in UCSA. I know they weren't good last year, but like they did get smacked. They did go undefeated 1 year, and then they got smacked in the Fiesta Bowl, but still. Louisiana is overall usually a solid team. I know they weren't great last year. I'd probably put them as a hero team, though. There's the one that people feel good about. La Tech, I'd probably say the same thing. They're usually decent. They're actually better that last year than the year before. I'd probably put them in hero team. I think they're usually one that people feel good about, especially in conference play and all that. Louisville, Jeff Brom's done an incredible job. Has done a good job there. Louisville, I'd probably put them as a hero team. They follow Lamar Jackson and all that in the past. Yeah. Louisville, overall, in my opinion, is a hero team. LSU, you can make an argument for both, especially since Lane Kiffin is their coach, not all the turmoil that's come out of that. But LSU generally is one of the best hero teams out there. Generally. Like, people felt great. Like that 2019 national championship was awesome. Obviously, I'm an LSU fan. I think people generally feel good about LSU when they're good, unless they're rivals too. We got a lot of rivals, but I think overall we're hero team, especially when we beat Alabama. People, because when we beat Alabama, the whole world goes crazy for good reason. Yeah, but like people went absolutely crazy for us in the past. Like I know people don't like LSU, but a second thought though, I'm gonna put Colorado back in hero just because I want to put them there just because their coaches great or because they're are not great with some people. But yeah, back to LSU. LSU can be a villain team, but like I think they're generally a hero team. Like they're not the most feel good story, man. Like they're not like the most feel good story like Indiana, but they're not like Alabama where everyone hates them. Because people do not like LSU, trust me, especially after Lane Kiffin stuff. But I think they're generally a hero team. But you could go either way, honestly. Marshall. Well, my name is Marshall. I'm a hero. So, hey, anyways, Marshall's generally a hero team, in my opinion. Had Randy Moss. They've had their fair share of upsets, like they beat Notre Dame a few years ago. Yeah, there's that. Maryland. Maryland's kind of not been great the last few years. Mike Loxley is gonna be. It's gonna be a make or break year for him next year, in my opinion. But I mean, I think they're generally a hero team. Yeah, Memphis. Memphis, honestly, I think they're generally can be a hero team. Everyone else, my opinion, they're a villain team because they're usually one of the forces to be reckoned with in their conference. I think Charles Huff's going to do a great job there. I think. Wait, sorry. I think they're a villain team, in my opinion. Um, Miami. I think Miami was focused through last year at their 0-2, but I think generally they're a villain team just because Miami's usually one of the teams to beat in the big in the ACC. Yeah, last year they were a team to beat in the ACC. Although Louisville and Louisville and SMU beat them last year, to be fair, in conference play, of course. Miami, Ohio, not undefeated anymore, by the way, in basketball. So there's that. Miami, Ohio in football, they're usually kind of mid. They make the conference championship because the rest of the MAC is mid. But I'll put them a hero. I think they're a feel good team usually, even though their offense usually sucks. Michigan's without a doubt villain team, especially all the Jerome Moore stuff. Especially all the controversies with their national championship as well, like the science stealing, Jim Harbaugh stuff. Like Michigan is a villain team for sure. Like they've had a lot of controversial stuff in the past. Yeah, Michigan State. The Mel Tucker stuff has been kind of put a bad image on their program. I think they can be a hero team, but based on the past, I'll put a villain. It's just Michigan State. They had the Mel Tucker stuff happen. That wasn't their fault or anything like that. I feel like ever since they kind of sucked and just like, and they used to be good back then. I put them a villain team, in my opinion. It might be controversial, but yeah. Middle Tennessee State, they freaking suck. But I mean, I'd probably put Jalen as a hero team. Yeah. Minnesota is the same old 7-5 usually every year. But I think overall Minnesota when they do good, I think they're generally a hero team. I think they're pretty good usually. Ole Miss, you go either way. I think they're a villain team in some ways, but I think generally speaking, they're a hero team. They're not usually one of the SEC powerhouses. Lane Kiffin's did an incredible job there. Well, I think he'll do great at LSU too. I'll put him in hero team, even though I do not like Ole Miss. Mississippi State, I don't like Mississippi State either, but they're a feel good story. I think they're a feel good story when they beat Arizona State. I'll put my hero team. Might be villain to the Big 12, but yeah. Missouri. Listen, I know Dark Miz is a really funny character on SC Roll Call, and Darth Vader is a villain. Missouri's generally a hero team. They're usually not. They're usually a feel good story when like back in 2023, they're a feel good story when they won all those games. But I think Eli Drinkwater's done a good job. They're not kind of falling off slowly, but like they've been good. So Missouri State, I think they were a cool feel good story last year when they did pretty good in the FBS in the first year. I'll put them a hero. I mean, they've done I mean, they did a pretty good job in their first year. They did a great job considering it's their first year in the FBS. Yeah, they actually gave SMU a run for their money too. So yeah, Navy. That's not even a question, bro. That's Navy. Why would I? They're a hero team by default because they're a military school and they do amazing things for our country. What else do I gotta say? Plus, their football team's been great the last few years. They've been really good the last few years. Sorry. Yeah, because like you got great quarterback and all that. Yeah. Nebraska. Nebraska used to be a villain team, but like they fell off a cliff. People kind of forgot they used to be really good. Back then, a villain team, but I think we probably classify as a hero now. Remind me of Auburn a little bit. Yeah. Nevada sucked last year. They're usually not great. They almost beat SMU though. The same game in the playoffs. I probably as a hero team. Jeff Chubb's gonna be in the hot seat next year though. That's for sure. New Mexico's actually a good team last year, man. They got 9 wins and they beat UCLA, crushed UCLA and on the road too. That, to be fair, that was when Deshaun Foster still coached them, but still. I put them at hero team. I think they're a good team. I think they're a cool team to root for. New Mexico State, I mean, that's the same place Diego Pavia came from. They did beat Auburn a few years ago before they kind of fell off a cliff. I'll put my hero team. I think they're a pretty good story usually. North Carolina, the basketball is for sure a villain team. Football could go either way. It's hero because I think they're usually not one of like forces to be reckoned with in the conference. But I feel like Bill Belichick's an amazing coach. He hasn't been great the last few years, but like Bill Belichick being there, what's a cool story. All the stuff when the background's kind of tarnished, tar-heeled. All the stuff with Jordan Hudson and all that's kind of like overshadowed this program and all that. So I think just because of that, I'll put him at villain. Actually, I don't know. Yeah, actually, I generally say they're probably a hero team. In my opinion. Even though they kind of are a punching bag. There's a difference between being a punching bag and a villain. NC State. I think NC State's usually generally a hero team. I mean, what's the coach's name there? Forgot his name. Dave Doran's usually decent, usually mid to decent. So I'll probably put a hero team. North Dakota State. This one's an interesting one. Because this might be controversial because they're just showing the FBS. They're for sure a villain team, in my opinion. You may be like, why? North Dakota State was a force to reckon with in the freaking FCS, man. Like, they were a force to be reckoned with. Like, I think it's really cool to join the FBS. I think people want to see them succeed there. But back in the FCS, they killed a lot of teams, bro. Like, they won so many national championships in the FCS. And it made their villain hard. Plus, they beat a lot of, like, FBS/Power 4 teams in their time as an FCS team. So, I think they're a villain team, in my opinion. Although they are kind of starting fresh in the FBS. But they have a lot of momentum going their way. North Texas, man, they were an amazing story last year. North Texas is one of my favorite teams. They're 10 minutes away from where I live. They're a hero team. Eric Morris did an incredible job with them. Drew Messmaker was arguably one of the best quarterbacks, arguably the best quarterback last year. Honestly, my opinion, I think he'll be in the running for the Heisman if Oklahoma State's actually a good team next year. Yeah, but I think North Texas was an amazing story last year. And I know they're probably not going to be as good next year, but still. Like, I was genuinely rooting for them to make the playoffs, but freaking 2-1. NIU for sure. I know they've had their fair share of upsets. They're generally a hero team. Thomas Hammer just left the program kind of at a weird time, and they did beat Notre Dame. Everyone's very happy for them and all that. They also beat Alabama a long time ago. Overall, I do think they are a hero team. Northwestern, I'd say they're a hero team, in my opinion. I mean, they were decent last year. They went 7-6. Their new Ryan Fields up next year. I know that's inconsistent, like the Preston Stone was inconsistent last year, but I think they're a hero team. Notre Dame, without a doubt, is a villain team. They're extremely arrogant. They're a diva. They're the diva of college football. They're one of probably the biggest diva in college football. They're independent. They schedule their own teams. They cry. They don't make the playoffs. They don't deserve to make the playoffs just because they literally lost to a team that's getting over them. Yeah, I almost went a whole Notre Dame rant when they missed the playoffs. Not because they should have made the playoffs, but because like when they said they're not going to go to a bowl game, it made me want to freaking like roast the crap on Notre Dame. So there's that. Ohio. Ohio is usually a good team to back. I probably as a hero team. I mean, they did beat West Virginia last year, which is pretty cool. There's that. Ohio State, without a doubt, a villain team. Like, come on, bro. Like, Ohio State's a freaking dynasty, man. Like, Ryan Day's done a great job there. They've won national championships. They've won national championships. Like, they won one 2024 season. Like, they're obvious. They're the giant. They're the Giants, and they're one of the big. They're probably the biggest giant in the Big 10 over the last decade. I know Indiana's part of it. I know Indiana's been better. Them, Michigan, and I guess Indiana recently have been the best teams in the Big 10 as of late, in the last decade, as of late, I guess. No, Indiana wasn't very good a decade ago, not even 3 years ago they were good. Oklahoma, they're a villain team. Like, I know they've been inconsistent the last few years. Like, they go 6-7, then 10-3, then 6-7, 10-3. They're generally a blue blood and a villain team. I know when they beat freaking I know when they beat Alabama twice, everyone was happy to include myself because Alabama was more of a villain, in my opinion. But I do still think Oklahoma State's a villain team. Yeah, there's always really good. Brent Venables, he's inconsistent, but he can have a really good team. Just saying. Oklahoma State, they've been trashed the last few years, but I think with the North Texas stuff, they'll be better. I'm gonna say they're a villain team. Mike Gundy was usually a good story. All that, like they did conference championship and all that. Yeah. Old Dominion was a really good team last year, man. One of the most underrated group of 5 teams last year. They're really good. Colton Joseph was really good. That team was really good. They freaking crushed Virginia Tech on the road. I forgot it was a road home, but still. And then Brent Price career. I'll put them as a hero team. Yeah. Oregon, for sure, a villain team. They're always in the playoffs. People do not like them. So yeah, Oregon's for sure a villain team. Oregon State, on the other hand, a hero team because usually they're overshadowed by Oregon, and obviously Oregon State was really bad last year. It might have been their worst season program history, or at least one of their worst season program history, maybe their worst season program history last year. But I know it's kind of a weird transitioning into like the new Pac-12 and all that. Oregon State's usually generally feel a good team. Yeah, Penn State. I mean, you could argue villain. I think they're generally a hero team because I think honestly they're my realistic a little bit. Like I think when they get a big win and whenever they actually win, I think people felt good. Like they want people want them to be Ohio State and all that. So yeah, Pitt. I know they were good back then, but they're pretty good now. I probably put them at hero. I mean, Pat Narduzzi's done decent with them. There's that, and they've had some good players like Kenny Pickett and all that go through there. DeMar Hamlin, yeah. Purdue used to be good, but they're trash now. But they got better. They were better last year, but not by much. They still went winless in the Big Ten. I'll put them. They were more competitive last year. I'll put them in hero, just because if they beat Ohio State, everyone's gonna rally with them and all that. Yeah. Rice is generally a hero team. They're usually not great, but Rice is like. I know they get crushed by Houston every year usually, but Rice is generally a feel-good team whenever they win. Yeah, there's that. I think it'd be cool to see them get a win over a big team. That's not LSU, of course, for my personal sake. Yeah. Rutgers has been the punching bag. Has been a punching bag college football a lot last decade. They've gotten better. Like they had a decent season in 2024 last year. Last year, close to making the bowl, but like they've had a lot of bad seasons. But I generally classify them as a hero team. Yeah, sometimes I do forget they're in the Big Ten. I mean, Greg Schiano's actually done decent there. It's got the program better than what it was back then. I mean, there's still a lot of work to be done. But yeah. Next up, we'll do Sacramento State. I'm actually gonna get some different clothes on real quick. It's almost noon. That's why I feel my hands, but I feel in my hand. One more time that I go. I had to listen. Baby, I like your stuff. Grips on your waist, but we're not with you. So I kind of have clothes to wear. I gotta dress good for Jack. You feel me? Oh, I generally gotta find some clothes. Right? Like, hold up. Where's my Lillard man shirt? I could wear that, but man, I don't think that fits me anymore. Plus, my mom probably got rid of that. Well, not got rid of it, as in like threw it away and donated it. But got rid of it as like it's a keepsake. Now, not something I wear anymore. Just because it got really small. Because from 6th grade, obviously, I've grown lots in 6th grade. I wore that. I'll wear. Frick. I can't find it, man. I'll wear Woodstock. Hoodstock. Hoodstock would be the greatest rap festival ever. It's a pants on pants. I'll wear these. Why not? Yeah, I'll wear some jeans actually. Where are my good jeans? Where are my soft jeans? Oh, this works. This works. This works. This works. Let's do it. Bam. 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 This one with the rip. Yep. All right. Whoa. Whoa. I almost fell over. Can y'all actually see me? Now it's 1984. Knock, knock at your front door. It's the Sway Denim Secret Police. They have come for your uncool niece. Done fire with their sorry. This house is very clean. BRB gang, and then we'll do it Sacramento State. I gotta get a charger too. Hold on. Oh frick! I used called. What a stupid little boy calling me at a terrible time. Boyo, you better answer my call. You watch my live stream, boy. You watch my live stream. Oh, Lord. Haha. All right, while I wait for Ayush, if he ever comes back. Wow, and I gotta answer my call. I see how it is. Okay. Let's do this. Sacramento State. All the FCS teams are down there. Okay. Sacramento State, former home of Cam Scadaboo. Wasn't that the school that had like a Little Roddy what? Little Roddy Rich? Didn't that school have like a freaking Little Yachty concert after their game or something like that? Sacramento State, LIL, Lil Yachty. Did they actually do that? Lil Yachty performed at Sacramento State's Hort Stadium October 2025 as part of the post-game homecoming concert following a 40-35 victory over Northern Colorado. Yo, that is sick, bro. That is awesome. Like, not even the freaking FBS team could do that. Well, they're FCS back then, but now they're FBS. But like, that's incredible, bro. Like, shout out to Sacramento State, man. That's amazing. Overall, I put them as a hero team. I think a lot of people want them to join the FBS. They're one that they've one that's been pushing to join the FBS for a long time now. Because they're going to join. I think they're already going to join, but then they got declined. But they got declined by NCAA for some reason. But they joined the MAC, which is kind of a weird conference to join. I don't think that's going to be a permanent home, but I mean, at least it's something. But Sacramento State, they're one team that's like, we'll do anything to join the FBS because they're going to join as an independent, I'm pretty sure, at one point. They're going to be on Notre Dame and UConn status at one point. Yeah. San Houston State, they're overall hero team, in my opinion. I think they're overall one that like they're one that's like usually not usually hero team. I know they weren't good last year, but like they had a great year. Like 2024 season, they went 10-3. So yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. SDSU, if you're a Cal fan, maybe not a hero team by any means, but SSU's overall hero team, I think usually a feel-good story in my opinion. So I think that's my opinion on them. San Jose State, I think they're a good team too. I'll put them as a hero team. They're in the Mountain. I think they're one of the only. I think they might be the only California team left in the Mountain West. So there's that. For the San Diego State had a really good year last year. They beat freaking. I think they got crushed by Hawaii. That was like their worst game. And they also lost to New Mexico and some other team, North Texas and. No, wait. What am I thinking? Sorry, not Miss. I think you're getting mixed up between Mexico State. I know they lost a lot of losses. San Diego State was great last year. They shut out freaking Cal, man. That's incredible. San Jose State, I know they weren't good last year, but usually generally heroes. I think people usually feel good about them. South Alabama, they're a feel-good team. I mean, people are pretty happy when they beat Oklahoma State. So there's that, except Oklahoma State fans, of course. South Carolina, I think they're generally a hero team. I think they're one that like comes in, gets an upset every now and then. Like then when they beat Tennessee or Alabama. No, actually, they didn't. They almost beat Alabama. That's what I meant. Twice, I'm pretty sure. And also when they beat Texas A&M a few years ago. Yeah. South Florida, I think you could argue both. I'd probably say hero team, honestly. And they beat Florida last year. Alex Gold did an incredible job with them, especially at the end. Yeah, I think he'll be good at Auburn. At Southern Methodist University, SMU, one of the local universities for me. This one, SMU, North Texas, and one we're about to do in just a few schools from now. They're all local. They're all the closest. They're all DFW schools. Always loved DFW schools. Trust me. SMU was definitely a feel-good story when they joined the ACC because I know obviously back then they could have argued if you're a villain team because they like broke the rules and all. They got like the freaking what was it? The death penalty back in the 80s. That was back in the 80s, though, to be fair, which was 40 years ago. So, yeah, SMU, though, they've rebuilt their program over. They kind of had to start over. Like, they had to join, like, conferences because the Southwest went away. Everyone else joined conferences. And they like, joined the CUSA, the WAC, I'm pretty sure, the American at one point. And then they got invited to the ACC when they added Stanford and Cal. So SMU was tagged along with them, which was nice. And they nearly won the ACC in their first year. They made the playoffs their first year, which is a really cool story. And they also, I know they weren't as good last year, but they did beat Miami, which was huge. Yeah, I'll put them as a hero team. And yeah, Miami, I'd consider a villain team. Southern Miss, they're a hero team. I think they were feel-good for last year, and Charles Huff actually made them actually a serviceable team. So yeah, in just 1 year. That's why. No wonder why freaking Memphis went after him. Stanford. I mean, they used to be good back then. They kind of sucked last year, but they got to a few weird Stanford wins, which is like wins over teams they shouldn't beat. I'll go a hero. It was over and had to be Florida State last year though. Syracuse is they sucked last year because their whole team because Steven Jolly got injured. But it's a hero team. Like they beat Miami when they had a chance to make the playoffs and all that, but Syracuse came in last second, stopped them. So yeah. We got the other school in DFW, Texas Christian, aka TCU. Now, if this was women's basketball villain team, they're really good in women's basketball, obviously. For football, they've had success in the past. Obviously, like they made the national. They're actually the only team, including Texas and Oklahoma, in the playoff era to actually make the playoffs. No, that's not true. A bunch of Big 12 teams made the playoffs. They're the only team out of the Big 12 that actually made the national championship. Yeah, they got embarrassed, but they got absolutely raped in that national championship. But I mean, it's still worth noting. At least you made it to the big dance. But TCU is generally a feel-good team. I really want them to beat Georgia, not just because I'm in DFW, but that'd be a really cool story that the underdog beats the big behemoth of Georgia. Sorry, although that they were nowhere near doing that. But overall, I think they can be a punching bag at points. But like, I think TCU is generally a hero team, in my opinion. I think they're a hero team, especially when they made the playoffs. Like people were genuinely pulling for them. Like that Michigan one was pretty epic. Yeah. Yeah, I know, but honestly, I make the joke that they're becoming the new Texas A&M or the new Texas 8-4 because last 2 years they got 8-4, and they're basically taking on A&M status at this point because people joke that they go 8-4 every year. So yeah. But there's that. Temple, I think was overall a hero team. They actually did okay last year. I know they didn't make a bowl game. They showed a lot more promise last year. Honestly, I watched them out for conference contention next year. Just saying, they got the same Houston coach. And Temple used to be trash. They're still not great, but like they're much better. But their trajectory going on is actually a good trajectory. So I'll put my hero. Tennessee, I think you could argue villain team. They're a hero, especially when they beat Alabama. But like they're usually one like more likable teams in the SEC, in my opinion. Like they've had their struggles and all. They haven't won Natty since 1998. I'm pretty sure. But I also love Squid Touch Sports and Danny B Talk. Shout out to y'all. But Tennessee, I think overall is a hero team. I think they can be a hero team. Yeah, they can also be villainous, but yeah. But I think they're more a hero team at this point. Texas, they're a villain team. No one likes them. Let's be real, or at least only the Texas fans like them. Not a lot of people do not like Texas. All right, notice the FCS teams are all in one, so I'm just gonna delete this row. But Texas, I mean, they're kind of arrogant. They've been arrogant. They've had their fair share of being arrogant. I will admit, like the Longhorn Network and all that. Like Texas is overall a villain team. They had a Longhorn Network, and then like they act like they're the best and all. And don't get me wrong, they've been really good, especially the last few years. But they haven't won a Natty since 2003 or whatever year that was when they beat USC. Yeah. Oh, frick. But Texas, I mean, people literally do this on purpose, and they go, "Oh, that's offensive." Like, bruh, you gotta expect it this way. The more you complain about it, the more people will do it. I'm just saying. Just some food for thought. But yeah, Texas is a villain team. Like, of course, last year they were the number one team in the country and start the year. And yes, while they still had a good season, like they went 10-3, they didn't even make the playoffs. They were preseason number one. So I'm just saying they were terrible on the road last year. That's why. Yeah. Texas A&M. This one's tough. I'm gonna take my bias out of this. I don't like A&M, especially after the last few years. Like with that overtime game, kind of like, oh man, bro. Plus we can't beat them at on the road for God's sakes for some reason, and apparently not at home. But apparently at home now we can't beat them. But that game they get Brian Kelly fired, so I'm putting you a hero for that only. Okay, but also in all seriousness though, and I'm generally a hero team. Like I know people do not like them, obviously, but like they're generally, in my opinion, a hero team. Like in the grand scheme of things, like compared to everyone else in the conference. Because like when they got beat Alabama, everyone's very happy and all that. So yeah, I was here. When anyone beats Alabama, people are happy, even if it's Georgia. Yeah. But yeah, I consider them a hero team. You could go. You could argue Villa, but probably a hero. Plus, they did get Brian Kelly fired, so yeah. But like Texas A&M, like since I live in DFW, like the most popular teams and where I am, people actually pull for A&M, Texas, Oklahoma State, TCU. Ironically, I don't see many SMU fans. North Texas, because I'm very close. We're very close to where they are. Baylor is also one that people pull for around here. And Texas Tech. Forgot to mention them. Texas State. People also pull for them too, obviously. Texas State is joining the Pac-12 next year. I think they're an overall hero team. I think they're a cool story, such as DJ Kenny, whatever his name, Coach Kenny has done a good job there for the most part. I know they weren't as good last year, but like they show a lot of flashes being good. Like they nearly beat Arizona State the same year they made the playoffs. So, yeah, there's that. Texas Tech. This one's a hard one. Texas Tech could go either way, in my opinion. I think you could argue their feel-good story, like when they made the playoffs last year. I know they didn't do anything, but I know they didn't do anything, at least on the offensive side. But Texas Tech generally can be a feel-good story. But at the same time, Joe McGuire can be kind of a hothead. But I mean, obviously, if y'all know Texas high school football, he did an incredible job at Cedar Hill High School. So, yeah. But Texas Tech, people don't like him because they pay for all their players. They get a lot of players that they pay for. Like, oh, they pay for this team, blah, blah, blah. I think Texas Tech is generally a hero team. I like Texas Tech. I think. Yeah. I mean, I usually like the Texas teams. Well, except Texas A&M. And I guess Texas too. But, like, I'll root for TCU, SMU, North Texas, Texas Tech, Baylor, Houston. Well, unless they played us, unless they're playing us, of course. Well, if any of these are playing us, I'm not pulling for them. UTSA, Rice, Sam Houston, UTEP. Am I forgetting someone? Etc. I'll pull for them. Texas State, sorry. That's what I forgot. Yeah. But I'll generally pull for the Texas schools because I'm a Texan. I've always been a Texan. You know, I'm moving to Massachusetts in like 2 months. So, yeah. But yeah, Toledo. I think the general hero team. Like they did crush Mississippi State on the road a few years ago, and they almost beat Kentucky last year. Toledo's generally a good team. I know Jason Cannon's gone, so might be in a rebuild next year, but I think they're generally a good team, a hero team. Troy, I mean, to LSU, they're a villain team, that's for sure, because they beat us a few years ago somehow. Troy's generally a hero team, though. I think they're usually a feel-good story. Unfortunately, I was on the wrong side of that feel-good story a few years ago, but yeah. Tulane. This one is an interesting one. Why? Overall in the world, I think they're a feel-good story. Like when they beat USC, it was pretty awesome, I will say. Even though one of LSU's rivals is Tulane, I get it. But I don't really despise Tulane though as much as I do everyone else though. Like I was pulling for Tulane to beat USC. But but the thing is, Tulane's gotten so good last few years. I know Will Hall's their coach now. I don't know how that's going to go because Will Hall is not that good at head coaching. At least when it was at Southern Miss. But Tulane, like it's cool when they went beat Power 4 teams. Well, is not mine, but Tulane is a villain team in their conference. People are pulling for North Texas to make the playoffs, and Tulane swept in and just beat them somehow. And to be fair, they played way better. To be fair, Tulane played way better than North Texas did. I'm going to put them in villain just because they're very villain. They have a villain arc in the American at this point. FBS expansions, which FCS expansion teams, FBS expansion, potential FBS expansion teams, which is pretty awesome. Tulsa. Tulsa is generally a hero team. Like they did beat Oklahoma State last year somehow. You know, they usually suck. They even sucked last year, but they did beat Oklahoma State on the road, which is pretty. I mean, it sucked for Oklahoma State because Oklahoma State was really bad last year. But yeah, Tulsa's generally a hero team. Nothing against Tulsa. I think they've had some good wins in the past. Yeah, UAB, similar to Troy. If I put them here, similar to Troy, LSU they're a villain for the most part. Although that was 2000 when that happened. But UAB they beat Nick Saban a few years ago. Just saying. I think they're a hero team. Like, I think honestly, UAB when they get some good wins, it's pretty cool. Yeah, like when they beat Memphis was really cool. Memphis isn't the villain team at category. UCF. UCF's a very interesting one. Back then, UCF's a villain team in the freaking American, man. Like, they were the team to beat. And people thought they came off a bit arrogant for good reason. Because, listen, they did great in 2017, no doubt about it. But they would not have beat Alabama or Georgia, in my opinion. I don't think, at least. UCF, though, you could argue villain, but a few years has passed. I'll probably put my hero team at this point. UCLA, Nico being there definitely tarnishes their image slightly because Nico is a villain in college football after what happened in Tennessee. UCLA is generally a hero team, though. I think people rally them over USC at this point. And then when they beat Penn State, people were happy. So, yeah. Plus, Jerry Neuheisel stuff was also pretty cool. Yeah. UConn, if this was basketball, for sure a villain team because they're great at basketball. Football, though, they've been a feel good story these last 2 years. Like Jim Moore has did an amazing job there. And they beat the ACC champion last year, Duke. So like, and they beat Boston College. They had their fair share of good wins lately. Like I know they're not good in overtime, but like UConn's definitely a hero team. They've been great. They've been really good the last few years, and I go as far as to say the ACC should look at adding them. Because one, yes, I know Big East rivalries, but one, dog, think about it. UConn in the ACC, yes, it will get rid of long-time rivalries. I get that. But on the other hand, they'll play Duke, North Carolina, NC State. Who else? Really good in there. Like, there's a lot of great teams in the ACC, and UConn adds some value to that conference. That's for sure. Yeah. Now let's talk about ULM. To be fair, when they beat Alabama a few years ago, that was pretty epic. They usually suck, but I put them as a hero team. They kind of sucked last few years. They haven't made a bowl game in a long time, but they're generally a hero team. They had General Booty, too. UMass, they were the worst team in college football last year. At least at the FBS level, honestly, they wouldn't have good. Honestly, at the FCS level, they wouldn't have good anyway because they lost to Bryant, and they didn't do that very. And Bryant wasn't very good last year. Yes, they got that win against UMass in the road, but still, like UMass would not have been even good in the FCS at that rate. But I mean, they're not a villain team because they suck. Worst team. They're a hero team because I think if they actually get good, they could be a hero team. UNLV, you could honestly argue in the conference they become a villain team. I think you make a strong argument. Dan Mullen's done a good job, has kept that program in good shape. I'll put them in hero just because I think they're still fresh off of this success and all. So yeah. USC, for sure a villain team. Lincoln Riley has been inconsistent, but USC is usually one of the best college football programs. People make fun of them when they lose and all that. Like I remember when they lost the TCU in the Alamo Bowl. People clown them up. People clown Squid Hard Sports. I know that is. Was clown on Lincoln Riley. Man, it was hilarious. USC is the villain team. Like people whenever they lose like a team they probably shouldn't lose to, they clown them. Like unfortunately LSU they lost to USC. Like when they beat Tulane, people were so happy. Making fun of USC. And like honestly, I thought they would have probably beat TCU in the bowl game last year. But I mean, they didn't. And then because USC can be inconsistent, let's be completely real. Utah. I don't know, man. I think they're generally. I think they're good. I know they've had some good years, obviously. Like, they're consistent, but I probably put them as a hero team. I think they're one that, like, if they beat like a big Pac-12 team, people would be happy for them. So you could argue both, though. Kyle Whittingham did an incredible job with that program, and I think he'll do really good with Michigan. Although they're dealing with some turmoil with all the Sherrell Moore. Yeah. Utah State, I put them as hero. I mean, they had Jordan Love a few years ago. They're usually decent teams. Yeah. There's that. Of course, in the Pac-12 this year, that'd be interesting. UTEP, they've been trash the last few years, but they're a hero team. I think they're at least a cool team to root for when they actually win games. So yeah, plus they're playing the Sun Bowl, which is really cool. UTSA, I know they've been kind of mid the last few years, but I think they're a hero team. I think they're a cool team to root for. Plus their state. I've been in their state a billion times for marching bands. Yeah. Vanderbilt, for sure. You could listen. You can make a strong argument that Diego Pavia's turned them into something else. But Vanderbilt is genuinely one of the biggest heroes in college football. Like, when they beat Alabama, their hero stats went way up. Because I will admit, a lot of these teams like might not necessarily be hero stats, but I think they would be considered a hero in college football. Vanderbilt is a hero, bro. Like, that program turned around the last 2 years. Like, they've been really good, man. Like, when they lost LSU, I was like, oh man, this Vanderbilt team's great. And Diego Pavia is a huge part of that, though. Let's be completely real. He has some of the things he says kind of weird, interesting to say the least. Like F the voters. Diego Pavia deserves a lot of credit for, like, actually getting Vanderbilt to where they are now, and Clark Lee and Neil Stowers too. Like, when they beat Alabama, man, like, that was awesome. That was good to Virginia. Virginia, when they beat Florida State, everyone was very happy. Virginia is a hero team. They had their best season in a long time last year. And they nearly made the playoffs. If they would have beat Duke in overtime, then they would have been in the playoffs. Yeah, although that might have changed how they outcome in the playoffs because Miami might not made it at that point. Virginia was a really good team last year, so there's that. Virginia Tech, on the other hand, they were trash last year. They lost. They got crushed by Old Dominion of all teams. I think they're generally a hero team. I think James Franklin's going to do a good job there. Yeah, at least better than what Britt Price has done in the last few years. Yeah. Wake Forest, I think generally is a hero team. They had their best season in a while last year. They went 9-4, which is actually pretty good. One of the more underrated teams in college football last year. They had some weird losses, but still. Like, they did get crushed by Florida State, to be fair. And Wake Forest did beat SMU, getting their first ever conference loss. That's not – gave SMU their first ever ACC. Right? It gave SMU their first ever regular season ACC conference game loss. So, yeah. Wake Forest is generally a hero team, so, yeah. Washington – you can make an argument for both. I think Washington's overall hero. I think it's a cool team to root for. Like, they're usually not like they were decent They're pretty good last year. Then they kind of had to recover since Ken DeBoer and everyone left. But I think they've gotten better the last few years since that happened. But yeah, Wazoo is a hero team in my opinion. I mean, it's cool to see them when they beat Washington a few years ago. Also, you could argue Washington could be down here, but I think Washington's overall hero team. You know, the Mom Williams stuff is kind of weird. Washington State, I think, is a hero team. Yeah. West Virginia, Rich Rodriguez. What? All-American Rejects? Rich Rodriguez coming back there is really cool. I know they weren't that good last year. I think they're a hero team. I know they've had some good years in the past, but I think they're overall hero team. I think it's pretty cool to see them succeed, especially when eventually if Rich Rod gets his hands on that program pretty well. I think they'll be even better. Yeah. His hands back under the program fully. Yeah. Western Kentucky. I think they're a hero team. I mean, I think they beat Arkansas a few years ago, but they're a cool team to root for. I know people root for them when they almost beat LSU last year, but yeah. Which thank God they did not beat us. Yeah. Western Michigan, you could argue villain team because they're really good in the MAC. I think they're a hero team. Like they actually turned around their season after a slow start last year. Like they were good last year. They almost beat North Texas, yeah, in overtime. Well, they did choke that game away, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Well, Western Michigan's a good team, so yeah, but I do think they're a hero team. Wisconsin, back like 10 years ago, was that villain team for sure. But Wisconsin, man, they kind of fall off a cliff. I'd probably put them as a hero team at this point. You could argue villain team, but like I'll put my hero just because I think they're one that people actually feel good about winning now. Yeah. Wyoming, if I Josh Allen there, of course, I'll put my hero team. I think they're cool to root for, especially Josh Allen and stuff and years, but still. I think they're good. I think they're cool to root for. Here's the heroes, and these have earned. You could argue have earned bullets. It's like there's some that are controversial, like App State's glad in there and Liberty, I guess. Some others, but like Alabama and like Ohio State should not have, and Notre Dame should not have any arguments. Yeah, there's that. Anyways, y'all. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe. Have a nice day and goodbye. See you next one. Peace.